Hallelujah. Okay, so I have a left and I have a left. Thank goodness.
Sorry to freak you out there.
Oh yeah, I was definitely freaked out. I will tell you, I was definitely freaked out. Okay, so we don't need a whole lot of sandpaper. Just a bit. This 50 grit, it's heavy duty. And it is, we just need to take the finish off our upper, and only a little bit of it, about a 1/4 inch. So, I thought maybe I'd get those marks off, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. We just want our glue to be able to penetrate into the leather a little bit. Not just you, it's the goo. All right, second coat. We really just want a nice thin coat, and we're trying not to have too much goop, because we don't want to wait forever. Obviously, we've lost light. It's dark out there, darkest pitch. We only have another hour to work in this place before we get booted. Still got a couple of steps we want to finish before we get booted. So, oh, that's sloppy. I'll get rid of that before we start putting this puppy together. Anything that's more than just a bit of a layer, anything that's a pile, anything that reads as like a snotty layer, it's too much. We just want a thin, shimmery sheer coat. Okay, we've had it set for a little while. Now, we're going to do this inside out. These are called turn shoes because we got to turn them right side out, which means that we are going to sew them together inside out. So, we're going to start by putting these together, tapping them together, and are very carefully marked registration marks. Remember all the registration marks we were so careful to make in the beginning. So I feel like this is what we got right here. So outside edge, that's a registration mark, right? That's a registration mark. And that's a registration mark. That's a registration mark. There's a lot of extra fabric up here at the toe box. We'll deal with that in a second. Don't panic. Just like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, don't panic. Large friendly letters, don't panic. Registration mark. Now, I'm trying to make sure that this leather is flush with the bottom of the sole. I'm not doing a great job in some of these places because this contact cement does its job. As soon as it touches, it is there. So, registration mark. registration mark. Oh, yes, thank you, thank you. Rescuing the shoe from the other shoe. So, now we're gonna work our way back just a little ways. So I'll have to have something to hang on to for a second. I'm gonna show you how we're gonna deal with all that extra fabric at the toe. Because this is where we learned that leather is awesome stuff to work with because it's quite forgiving stuff. It's pretty fluid when it comes right down to it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tap it right here in the middle. Boop. Okay, make sure it's flush on the bottom, but it's also really malleable. See that?
So cool.
Right? This is why we're using contact cement. This is why this is not a step we skipped. Because this is what makes this a shoe instead of a monstrosity. And then I'm going to come right in here. I'm going to find the center and I'm just going to tip it down just a bit. Just the tiniest piece I can find. And again, tiniest piece I can find. Oh, look at that. It squishes. And it likes to do what you want it to do. It's a friendly material. Look at that. Okay. Other side of the shoe. Again, we're going to lift it up so that when it touches, it's flush with the sole. Right in the middle, hopefully-ish. Looks like I kind of goobered that. But again, it's forgiving. It wants to be loved. Voila. You see that? And my registration marks are lining up beautifully. Contact cement is our friend. Okay. We want to get this leather flush with the sole. And we want our registration marks lined up. So I've got my hand inside the shoe so that it's still completely under my control, and I can keep it open. I'm back here towards the back, and if I come too far forward, I just peeled it up because now I need to make this back part bend up where I want it. Now, again, we need this back part, we need this leather flush with the sole of the shoe, okay? We're not wrapping it in or doing that. We want this outside leather to be flush. So there's my registration mark for the corner, right? But we want this leather to be flush with the flat of the back, with the sole of the shoe. And this is where it gets a little tricky because it needs to stretch a little bit to get there. But that's my registration mark for the heel. And then this stuff needs to come up here to be flush with the sole of the shoe. And I know you guys are having a hard time seeing this. I'm trying to do it for the camera. So, flush with the sole, yeah? The edge of this leather needs to be flush with the sole. There's my registration mark. There's flush with the sole of the shoe. So I work with it until I get all my registration marks lined up and all of that edge, that nice 90-degree cut that we were really careful to get, lined up so that it's flush.
It's kind of magical.
It kind of is, right?
Yeah.
And this is why I finally said
Contact cement.
contact cement. It is a magical technology that makes this a shoe instead of
A goober.
a glob that you wrap around your foot. So I'm just kind of mashing this down and making sure that that contact cement is not going anywhere because it's going to take me a minute to get to sewing this. Oh my gosh, that's a shoe. Look at this, people. That's a shoe.